Welcome back to Mind of a Musician. This is episode 17. We're going to check out two more bands from Wichita, Kansas. And these songs are about coping. The bands we're going to check out are Old News and Bellied Sullivan. So, if you're watching the YouTube version, I'm sitting here with my guitar because this is my coping mechanism, along with video games. And in fact, this guitar, it's a SG Deluxe. It is named after Vela, a blue-haired character in the game Jet Force Gemini on Nintendo 64. It's this game where you run around with a laser gun and you shoot ants. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I used to play it in high school. That was my coping mechanism. When stuff got hard, I'd go give my brain a break and play video games for an hour or so. Maybe play some guitar, and then I'd try to go back to tackling my problems or hiding from them. Depends. So let's examine some other songs about coping. So this first song is called Disappointed But Not Surprised by Old News. Now this is an interesting band because they've got a horn section. It's not exactly a ska feel. It feels like a pop rock band with some horns. So it's kind of an interesting, unique sound. Now Bo Harris gave me a little bit of background on this song. He said he wrote this song during a really hard time in his life. Summer of 2017. Now he had been going through a lot. He just failed out of college and he had a split with a partner he said was a really weird breakup. And he said he should have expected some of this to be happening because he was coping with drugs and all kinds of stuff, and he was disconnecting himself from others, not dealing with his depression. So things just kind of came to a chaotic halt for him. So one day he's laying on his back playing guitar, just kind of laying there noodling around, and he comes up with the chorus of this song, and the words just float into his head, disappointed but not surprised. So out of that, this song was born. And I gotta tell you, some of the best songs are born out of really hard times in life. I mean, as a songwriter, that's kind of my go-to when life's hard. I go write a song. So I understand what he's going through here. So what happens is he comes up with these parts of a song and he passes them off to the bass player and the drummer, and they come up with the skeleton of the song together. And then after that, they start adding lyrics and the horns and stuff like that. The recording process behind this song was really interesting. So this band, they had some friends that had a studio. They went there and they recorded this song the first time, but they didn't like how the guitar sounded. The tone was not what they were wanting. So they went back home and they converted a spare bedroom into a little recording studio. And that is where they re-recorded the guitar and the horns. That ended up giving the recording a really woody, lively quality. And they were really happy with it when it was finally done. Now the other interesting thing about this song is they got the perfect engineer. The guy who worked on Fugazi. I don't know if you know who they are, but they're pretty famous, and they were really excited when they just emailed this guy. Probably weren't expecting a response, but the guy emailed him back and he was available. So the engineer of Fugazi got to work on this album, and that was really surprising and special for the band. So let's listen to the song Disappointed But Not Surprised. This is by Old News, and it's on their album Castro. You can find that on Spotify and on Bandcamp. So let's take a listen.
Can't run
Alright, I hope you enjoyed the song Disappointed But Not Surprised by Old News. If you like that, check out the rest of the album on Spotify or Bandcamp. This song really got stuck in my head when I discovered it. I was listening to several of their songs to see which one I wanted to put on the podcast, and I'd heard this one a couple times, and the melody just seemed really strong on the chorus. It got stuck in my head. And I really liked the hammer-ons on the guitar at the beginning and the intro. This song is also on the Wichita Local Bands Playlist Volume 1 that I released on Spotify today. So check that out on my Facebook page. It's Mind of a Musician on Facebook. So the second band we're going to check out is also from the playlist. This is Bellied Sullivan, and the song is called Blues and Greens. And this song is also about coping. This is kind of an acoustic-y based song, driving rhythm. And Blues and Greens, the name, it comes from imagining just an ideal place of peace. You know, blue skies, a few clouds, some green trees here and there. So Justin Sullivan, the writer of this song, he described this song as escapism. It's actually about trying to find a way to cope with your stress and anxiety and escaping to another place. Blues and Greens, this represents his happy place, this imaginary place that he can go in his head. And whether it's like trying to literally find this place in the real world or using video games or music or alcohol to cope, this is about kind of hiding from your problems and escaping from them. And he said he actually thinks he does that a little bit too much and maybe needs to be dealing with them more. He actually said sometimes he has to pull himself back into reality to deal with whatever's actually bothering him. So in this song, you'll hear some of this process played out in the music itself. He said there's a section of chaos where everything's big and aggressive, and then that's going to be followed by a long sustained chord, and that moment is supposed to represent the happy place. So I hope you'll listen for that theme to play out in the song. Let's give it a listen. This is Blues and Greens by Bellied Sullivan.
I bottom out every chance I get to.
All right, that was Blues and Greens by Bellied Sullivan. So I hope you enjoyed that song. Let me know what you think on the Facebook page. It's Mind of a Musician on Facebook. So I talked to Justin a little bit about how he came up with the song, and he said it was all really born out of coming up with the idea of playing a dissonant chord and then following it up with what's normally a boring major chord. Yeah, sometimes that can be kind of bland, but if you place it after a dissonant chord, he said, it actually is really interesting. It's resolving it. And he just liked how that sounded, so he came up with that main riff. And then the lyrics just kind of floated into his head almost complete. So they really didn't change much from his initial idea. This song is another do-it-yourself recording. So the last song was kind of half do-it-yourself, half studio. This song is all do-it-yourself with one USB microphone on an old MacBook in GarageBand. So that's pretty cool. Justin said he went through a lot of trial and error trying to get this song to sound right, but it ended up being a really rewarding process. And in part of the song, he wanted to express chaos, and what he did there was he doubled up the guitars, but he also doubled the bass, which is something I've never heard anybody do except on, what's that song by Foo Fighters? I Should Have Known. There's two bass guitars on that song. I don't think it's doubled. I think it's just two different parts. But on this song, he actually doubled the bass, which is a first for me. So that's something you might listen for if you go back through the song. Listen for the effect of doubling the bass part. See what that brings to the song. So he also got to record the song with a 1972 Lyle acoustic. Vintage guitar, driving, aggressive tone. He thought it was perfect for this sound. It was the guitar that his father-in-law learned to play guitar on. It was really cool that he got to use a piece of family history on the recording here. So that was Blues and Greens by Bellied Sullivan. They're on Spotify, Facebook. Check them out. They've got some more music that's really cool. Today I also released a Spotify playlist called Wichita Local Bands Volume 1. If you go to the Mind of a Musician Facebook page, you'll see it. I'm going to launch a website that I can send people to so more people can get the music. And this playlist just features a bunch of bands from Wichita that I think are really good and deserve to be heard. And I want to help other people hear them, so I'm going to advertise a little bit. You might think I'm crazy, but I started donating plasma so that I can buy Facebook advertising to advertise this playlist a little bit. And also get some business cards that I can put stacks at local businesses so people can pick them up, scan them with their phone, and get this playlist easily. I just want more people to hear about this music. So if you want to partner with me and help these bands get out there, let me know. Send me a message through Facebook. Maybe we can do this together. Maybe I can give you a stack of mini flyers or something so as many people as possible can hear these bands and we can elevate local music together. So I hope you'll join me next week for another episode. We'll look at a couple more bands, tell the story behind the songs. So this is Mind of a Musician signing off. We'll see ya.